June 27, 2003. My dad, my brother, and I were playing a board game. Through the front door, we saw strobe lights going off and wanted to see what was going on. We went outside to check it out, and it was a DUI getting pulled over, and they were having the guy walk the line. And that's all I remember.
So we were watching the cop put the driver through his tests, and of course the flashing lights were going. I looked over at Channing and Reed to see what their reaction was. And Channing wasn't there. And then I looked down and she was slumped on the ground. I was like, oh my God. And I picked her up and I had her armpits like right here. And I'm like, are you okay? And then a little bit of sputum come out. And then Channing's brother freaked out. And I was like, oh my God, we're going to ER. Pulled in like we were an ambulance. Ran to the other side of the car, opened the passenger side door. And then Channing looked at me and went,
Dad, why are we here? And that's what I remember of my first seizure.
They said, lots of kids have one seizure. Don't worry about it. If the second one happens, then we'll start worrying about it. 6 months later on Thanksgiving, she had her second seizure. And they said, well, now it's an official diagnosis of epilepsy.
I had never heard the word epilepsy. So this was something new to me. I didn't know what it was.
We didn't know anything.
We knew nothing.
We never even really heard the word.
We left the hospital with the information that, okay, you have epilepsy, but you're likely either going to get control of it, you're likely going to grow out of it.
And boy, I'm telling you, we clung to those words for years.
Yeah.
Too long.
We started her on Lamictal. That drug, you have to introduce it really slowly. Well, in the meantime, she's breaking through having seizures until you can get to that therapeutic level. It was a nightmare.
I probably had about 60 to 70 tonic-clonics. Absences, I did not know that I was having them to begin with. Once I have had it for a few years, I began to recognize them.
She had been a straight A student prior to epilepsy. And literally she went to, almost all Fs. I mean, just like that. For two reasons. One, she missed a ton of school. Two, even when she was in school, she's having absences.
With the absences, if I'm missing the information that's being presented in front of me, I'm, number one, not getting it in the first place. And number two, if I'm having subclinical activity that I'm unaware of, my brain could be going off just randomly, like possibly right now, and the only way we would know is if I was hooked up to an EEG.
We were convinced she would outgrow this, and we just had to survive those first few years, get through puberty, whatever it was.
So we held out hope for 4 years that we would grow out of it. I would be the 60-70% that gets control with medication.
What we wished we'd been told is go visit a comprehensive epilepsy center now.
2007, we fly out to the NYU Langone Comprehensive Epilepsy Center.
The first thing they suggested is a multi-day VEEG, a video EEG, and we eventually did that.
No seizures were caught on camera, but they got enough subclinical data and they diagnosed me with JME, juvenile myoclonic epilepsy.
The good news is that it's very treatable, but the bad news is it's lifelong.
The fact that it's going to be lifelong, that kind of took our breath away.
I just remember Dr. Vasquez going, you might have to make a choice. She went through the list of drugs. And Depakote was the last one on the list because of her age and the fact that she might want to have children someday. We're like, she's 15 years old. How is she supposed to make that choice? But ultimately, she did have to make that choice at a very, very young age because we went through all the other drugs and got to the Depakote.
And the Felbutol. Those were the two we were trying to avoid the most, was Depakote and Felbutol because of their horrendous side effects, and she's still on both of them today.
Horses are my world. My grandma put me on a pony when I was 4, and I haven't gotten off.
Channing's always had a horse in her life. First riding lesson when she was 4, first pony when she was 7.
Like any kid, I had big dreams, and my big dreams were to become a doctor and go to the Olympics. So when epilepsy came, it was kind of a big question, okay, how are we going to keep her in the saddle?
There were doctors that told us that Channing's got to give up horsing, that she needed to take on a new hobby. And I said, like what? And they said, stamp collecting. And quite honestly, when that literally was an answer. And as soon as that doctor said that to me, that was when we decided Channing was going to continue to ride her horse.
I did have the highest safety helmet. I did have my safety stirrups. And then the inflatable vest came out.
It contours to your body, so it's not in your way when you're riding, but if you separate from the saddle, in 0.09 seconds, it fills up like a big sumo suit.
It has a CO2 cartridge in it. It inflates before you hit the ground. It protects your neck, your back, your internal organs. So in my mind, I feel safer on a horse than I do crossing a street.
It's crazy for her to walk across the street. That's nuts. I wouldn't do it. I'd get on a horse with a vest any day, though.
She's fueling her soul and exercising her mind and her body on her horse cautiously, with precautions in place.
I'll always be a jumper at heart, but it turns out that I was more of a dressage rider than a jumper anyways. Dressage is actually French. It means to train, and it's literally just training your horse, communicating with your horse. There are different levels that you advance within dressage. As you and your horse learn each other, communicate better, it's a challenge, and going up the levels is fun.
There was the annual November horse show down at Majestic Farm. It's their annual turkey trot. And they decided to do a shout out to Channing and celebrate Epilepsy Awareness Month with their November horse show, and did it a call to purple. Wear your purple and let's bring awareness.
This was 2018, and we weren't gonna raise anything. It was not about raising money. It was just kind of, okay, let's have fun with this. So people wore purple, letters were decorated with purple flowers, and we raised $750.
And Channing gets the advocacy bug. She's like, oh, this is kind of cool. She really just took to it. It just speaks to her.
The next year, 2019, it became Dressage for a Cause.
I think we brought in $1,500 plus another $1,000 for the raffle. Like, wow, all right, this is cool. So we just keep doing it, and it just keeps growing.
Our goal is to raise a $125,000 CURE Epilepsy grant, which is the Taking Flight Award. We are now $50,000 away there.
Well, here we are, 7 years later, 7 horse shows later, $50,000 later. She's found something that she can do reliably on her own time that is really rewarding and has a sense of purpose.
For me, being a CURE Epilepsy Champion means being able to fight for epilepsy warriors who have lost or are losing their battle to epilepsy. That's what's most rewarding for me about being a CURE Epilepsy Champion. So this pad that I ride with, this saddle pad that I show in, that's how I bring the warriors into the arena with me who can't be there themselves. And we've gotten warriors from India, Ireland, Australia, Canada, Austria, and across the US.
She's a fighter. She fights because she knows all she's got to do is look at that saddle pad. All those kids are fighting. We're trying some different virtual jobs, medical transcribing or whatever, and still the inconsistency, too many sick days, it just wasn't working.
You know, I was able to be in the workforce a little bit, but you know, I did find my limitations there.
She's hardworking, she's a good worker, she's got great skills. She just can't be there. And it's really hard to find a job when you're inconsistently reliable.
After a seizure, she's down for 2 or 3 days in bed or on the couch with this terrible headache. And you got to have something to look forward to. Otherwise, why get off the couch? Now, thanks to you guys, she gets to go to work each day, which is awesome.
Thanks to UCB, I've gotten an opportunity to intern with CURE Epilepsy and learn skills that would help me in the workforce.
First and foremost, the Community Enrichment Program has provided Channing a sense of purpose, and I just don't think there's anything more important for her to feel at this point in her life than that.
It's been great to be working in all different areas of CURE. So professional leadership and development, corporate giving, individual giving, marketing, and being able to learn within each area. And so this is a great place to develop your skills, to further your skills, so that hopefully you can be able to use those in the long term.
The training that she's receiving now sets her up for The idea that there'll be other roles down the road. This is something she can put on her resume. Now she's got training, she's got skills. So sense of purpose and hope have been key.
Thank you to UCB for this amazing opportunity to be a part of the Community Enrichment Program at CURE Epilepsy. It's an incredible opportunity.